Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is almost Earth Day. I believe Earth Day is actually tomorrow. But I thought I would make a video on ways that we can help our planet, who we lovingly refer to as Mother Nature or Mother Earth. And right now she is feeling a little bit stressed out. She is feeling overworked and underpaid and a little bit tired, and is probably in need of a bubble bath, some chocolate, a glass of wine, and maybe a little bit of scandal. So whether or not you agree with climate change, whether you believe it's man-made or the earth goes through natural cycles, the one thing you cannot deny is the fact that we are going through some global changes in our weather. We have oceans rising, we have our polar ice caps melting, we have hot summers and overly warm winters. We also have overly cold winters, and I honestly believe this is our planet saying, whoa, things are about to get crazy if we don't make some drastic changes. And I think that part of it has to do with overpopulation. We are at the most amount of people we have ever had on this planet at one time. We also have a crazy industrial revolution that started back in the 1800s and has carried forward, which means we have so much more waste and pollution and just a lot of crap going on that affects our planet. So, like I said, whether or not you believe global warming is man-made or you believe it's a natural cycle, we should still try to do, my neighbor is walking by with their dogs, we should still try to do everything we can to try to lessen our impact on the planet, as well as think about future generations and also how we're affecting current animals and plants trying to live right now. So I'm just going to go through, give you a couple of tips that I've learned along the way, and it doesn't have to be any drastic changes that you make overnight, but just changing little things here and there really do add up and make a difference. So the first thing I would recommend is look into not recycling. I know that sounds extremely insane to probably 95% of you, but where I live, which is Hawaii, which is an island in the Pacific, in order to recycle, all of our recyclables on the island are collected, put on a boat, and then the boat travels a little over 2,500 miles to get to the mainland USA, where it will then be transferred to a truck, and it will then be trucked over to the recycling area, which actually originally we thought was in Los Angeles, but the city of Los Angeles no longer accepts that, so it's somewhere else. We're not sure where. Anyways, the carbon footprint of recycling from Hawaii is extremely high. So what they have done here is they actually went from burning fuel, burning oil to create electricity, to burning the garbage. And I know that sounds like, oh, but you're just polluting with the smoke and the fumes, but it actually has a smaller carbon footprint than burning oil and recycling. So they actually have just started collecting all of the garbage and they take it to the Hawaii Electric Company, where they then burn it, and that's what creates our electricity here on the island of Oahu. So it's definitely worth looking into if your area actually is sustainable for recycling. Obviously, if you can recycle, it's good to recycle. But look into what the carbon footprint of that is, and then also look into other options in your area. Most places on the mainland, recycling is a great option, but here in Hawaii, it was not the best option available. The next thing we did here is we switched from bottled water to filtered water. And the reason why we were doing bottled water in the first place was in 2010, the water studies for the whole country in the United States came out, and Hawaii was ranked one of the worst places to drink the water. And that's because we do desalination for our water. So we take water from the ocean, remove the salt out of it, and so that it becomes drinkable, and then filter it out into the cities. But the problem with that is there was a lot of chemicals in there. There was also, because we have a very, very old sewer system here in the state of Hawaii, which was recently updated, I think a year or two ago, there was just a huge kind of like a culmination of accumulation of crap in the water system because of the sewer system flooding, because of desalination, because there was a lot of pharmaceuticals being flushed down the toilet, which is something you should never, ever, ever, ever do, because that does end up going into the main water supply. If you have pharmaceuticals you want to get rid of, you can actually take them to your local pharmacy and they will get rid of them for you in a safe, sustainable way. So we were able to switch from bottled water, which we were drinking for a very long time. And what we did was we went on Amazon, and for our refrigerator, instead of buying a normal filter, we purchased a pharmaceutical filter. So it will filter out all of the junk in the water on top of any pharmaceuticals like medicines that are in the water as well. We then take the water from there and put it into a Brita pitcher, which is also a filter. And that way we're double filtering, so there's absolutely nothing in the water that could possibly be bad. Now in your area, your tap water may be fine. You may be totally fine with just having a Brita filter or using the water out of your refrigerator. I believe the pharmaceutical filter was about $10 more than the normal filter, but for us it's totally worth it. You only have to change it every 6 months, and you no longer have to buy overpriced bottled water. Another thing I would recommend is look into buying local for as much as you can. So when it comes to our foods, you have a lot of companies that are using GMOs, which, while we do not know a lot of the long-term effects on our bodies of using genetically modified foods, we do know that it actually does destroy crops in the nearby areas. So the best way to avoid any of that drama is to just buy local. Look into if your area has a farmer's market. If it does, you can buy most of your vegetables there. You can even sometimes find meat, and depending on how big your farmer's market is, you can find prepared meals as well. If you don't have a farmer's market in your area, you can find, there's typically like little farms that sell, they'll have signs up like we have peaches, we have grapefruit, you know, stuff like that, depending on where you live. Another great thing that you can do for the planet is lessen the amount of meat that you consume. We actually, as humans, don't need to eat meat as often as we do. We tend to think that it has to be a requirement every day or every meal, when in reality, if you are choosing to consume meat, you really only need to be doing it every couple of days, 2 to 3 times a week. You don't actually have to be doing it every single day. And one of the, I would say, the funnest changes that you can make is actually changing your lawn into a garden. Now I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but there are tons of people doing it throughout the country. In almost every city now, you'll see people who have taken out their lawn and put in a garden, and that's because a lawn is a waste of water and a waste of space. You're not growing anything edible there. You're really just wasting your time mowing it, and again, wasting water watering it. So instead, you can put in raised beds if you like. You can do cluster planting, which is something that my mom is a really big fan of. It's where she plants a corn stalk next to a tomato so the tomato can use the corn to grow up, and then she plants a zucchini next to that, because it keeps all of the animals away from eating the tomatoes and the corn, because zucchini is really prickly. You can also do cucumber, because cucumber will climb up the corn stalk as well. You can do so many different things with changing your lawn to a garden, and most places already have your sprinkler system in if you have a lawn. The only thing I would recommend if you're going to do this, if you have an HOA, check and make sure it's okay with them first. You don't want to do all the work and find out later it isn't. If it's not okay with them, start a petition in your neighborhood to make it okay. It is absolutely a crime to not be able to grow your own food if you want to. in my opinion. I mean, it's not an arrestable offense, but it should be. You should be able to grow your own food on your property if you want to. And I highly encourage all of you to do it. It actually tastes so much better. As you guys know, here on my lanai, which is actually quite small, I do grow like tomatoes and corn and beans and cucumbers and just all kinds of stuff, whatever I can get my hands on. And it really does end up making a difference for the planet as well as for your pocketbook. It's such a cheaper way of getting fresh fruits and vegetables into your home without going to the grocery store. So those are just some quick and easy tips that you can make to make your home a bit more sustainable, lessen your carbon footprint, while at the same time getting healthier food options and cleaner water. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Leave a comment down below with any thoughts on what can be done to help reduce our carbon footprint, anything that you do at home or that you've seen on TV or in books, just whatever. I love seeing new options on this. Also, really quickly before I go, I just want to touch on plastic. Here in Hawaii, we get a lot of garbage from the ocean, mostly coming from Asia. And then I know on the East Coast they have a problem with garbage coming from the South America, coming up from the water currents. Please, please, please try to keep your plastic out of the ocean. What ends up happening is it ends up being broken down and it turns into what's called microplastic, which are very, very fine, small particles that the fish consume, that turtles consume, that birds consume, and then they all end up dying from it. Here in the Hawaiian Islands and on the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, we have the albatross, which so many of them are found dead with tons of microplastic in their stomach. Also, our monk seals eat it, which they are an endangered species. So please, please try to remember, keep your plastic out of the ocean, throw your garbage away responsibly, and try to recycle whenever you can. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!